Gamazda is a Russian pianist and content creator who has amassed 900,000 subscribers on YouTube by making piano covers. But is she actually good at the piano? Well, hopefully today I'm going to find out. So let's get into it. This song is an absolute classic, and what better reason to whap out the old glockenspiel. Now this is interesting because this song is actually in the key of E flat minor, which is quite unusual because E flat minor has 6 flats. But interestingly, on the guitar, because the lowest string on a guitar is an E, and sometimes in more rock and metal songs they detune the lowest string, you'll probably find more rock and metal music in keys like E flat minor than you would any other type of music. It's really interesting because it's actually quite simple in terms of the chords. So you get like E flat minor, D flat major, then B major or C flat major in this case, and then it goes back up to D flat major. But also because in a lot of rock and metal music they use something called power chords, which is essentially where you play a normal chord but you take out the middle note and you add an octave. So E flat, B flat, and E flat in this case. Those types of chords add like a really thick texture, but they sound almost hollow because they don't have that middle note, which is the note that gives it its quality of sound. It's the note that makes it major or minor. Without that note, it sounds kind of empty. But in order to replicate that style of music on the piano, you can use a lot of these kind of fifths, which is basically a power chord. The best example of this I can think of is the song Enter Sandman by Metallica, which kind of goes... And that has a lot of those fifths in it. And that kind of replicates the chuggy sound that a guitar has. And that is exactly what Gamazda is doing in the left hand here to create that kind of rockier sound. I never noticed that this song uses the 4 chords. So E flat minor, G flat major, D flat major, A flat major. It's making me want to almost like funk it up a bit. It's super interesting. Also the first note that's in the melody, which is an F, is kind of odd in this style of music because the chord is an E flat minor chord. So it's like the 9th. It makes it sound kind of jazzy. Because the song is so repetitive, it's really kind of important that you do something with it. Starting with a glockenspiel is one way of doing something with it. But if you want to do your own piano cover of this, you could do something like starting quite small. And then kind of expand on the piano like Gamazda is doing by using octaves in the right hand and a more jumping bass. It's amazing how iconic that simple melody is. It's kind of haunting. The interesting thing about having a melody like that that's quite repetitive, where it's only a few notes, you could actually change the bass notes and therefore change the chords that go underneath it. There's so many interesting things you can do with it. I think it'd be really fun to do my own piano cover of it. Nice, that was really cool. I like what she did with it, and you can tell that she's a really solid player by the way that she's like comfortably able to move around the piano. I can already immediately tell that she's done a lot of classical training, just because she has really good technique and accuracy on the piano. I absolutely love this song. I've played it on guitar quite a few times. I mean, the selling feature of this piece is that pedal note that's just going on underneath all of this. And a pedal note is just a note that repeats underneath or over the top of chords that are changing. So in this case, you've got B major and then E minor, and there's a B happening under both of them. Yeah, that's interesting. So she's playing with a loop station or looping the parts over the top of each other. I think this is one of those songs that would actually be really quite difficult to arrange for piano without looping it, because obviously the most famous part of this piece is that part. And if you were to try and include the melody, which is kind of simple, it's next to impossible to also include like the bass notes and the chords underneath while keeping that motif, that kind of guitar pattern going. So it's a good idea to loop it, to make it into something a little bit more interesting rather than just occasionally putting that guitar riff in and then just playing simple chords with a melody. That was a really nice lick she put in there. It's something like, you can tell she really knows how guitars work, because that is something called the pentatonic scale, and if you are a guitarist, you might know that the pentatonic scale is one of the first scales that guitarists learn, and it's also a scale that is used an awful lot to play guitar solos because it works over a lot of things. And any bedroom guitar players that have played AC/DC and Guns N' Roses and people like that, they will all know that a lot of their songs use the pentatonic scale to make their guitar solos and things. So the fact that she's included it to play little solo-y things like that shows that she's really trying to like replicate the guitar parts. I mean, reading the comments, it's pretty bad how many people are simping. I never get any comments of people telling me that they're thunderstruck by my beauty. Wow, that's quite an interesting classical thing she kind of did. She kind of played the pattern in reverse, while the looping pattern of the original version was still playing underneath, so you kind of got it playing in third. Kind of made it sound a little bit classical for a moment there. At least some of this, or all of this, must have been pre-recorded as well, because she's got a camera on her, but she's also got the camera in several different places out in front of her, which will all be filmed at different times. So I wonder if she's pre-recorded the entire thing and then kind of like performing it over the top of that backing track, or whether she's played the entire thing once live with one camera angle and then filmed separate bits afterwards. She's really got some thick chords going on. It's kind of the same idea though, where she's kind of got octaves with the fifth in the middle, creating that power chord type thing in order to really thicken that texture, and then more of a full chord in this hand. She's really going off with that pentatonic and blues scale. There's no better way of improvising and having fun on the piano than playing with the blues scale. Yeah, that was really cool. I love what she did with it. It wasn't just like a normal piano cover. She was actually doing something to make it really exciting. But she also posts classical music as well, so let's see how good she is at that. Once again, I'm not entirely sure whether she's pre-recorded this or not. It doesn't look like it because her notes are very, very accurate for how it sounds. But the actual audio quality sounds a little bit odd, so unless she's got a microphone in the piano, which is a possibility. This is definitely a fun piece to play because it's so programmatic. You can definitely tell that it's the flight of a bumblebee. But also, once you've actually mastered the finger pattern that you've got to use for these notes, it's actually quite repetitive. But as I said, I was pretty sure that Gamazda was classically trained, and you can pretty obviously see that here because her technique is pretty impeccable. Yeah, she's got super rounded fingers and her hands are super relaxed. I really don't think the pop songs do her playing justice because you can tell she can play really, really well. But then again, you do get a lot of classical musicians who can't play any pop songs or make arrangements of anything or play anything by ear. So the fact that she's got that versatility, once again, it just shows how great a musician she is. I mean, there's not really much to say about it. She played it very well. So she was born into a family of musicians and started playing the piano when she was 3 years old. And then she went to the Tchaikovsky Moscow State Conservatory, so that does make sense. But it is interesting that she's kind of gone into the classic rock hits type of genre. Another great pianist is a pianist called Francesco Perino, and in this video, I reacted to him. So if you are interested in that, head on through, and I will see you there.